Greenland Media. With me, Williams. Welcome everyone. Today we come to talk Bebe cool. Tuze kuogera a one Bebe Banton. Precisely, and in regards to the recent releases, that is Circumference and the Motivation. Omugagamiro wonna wosinzira okugoberera this podcast webale nnyo webalira ddala. I've been drawn to two songs released recently by one Bebe Banton, Bebe cool. Nengamba nti tugoberera tulina channels bbiri, tulina Greenland Broadcast, tulina Greenland Media Podcast. This one where we talk creative and performing arts, giving the biggest percentage to music. In particular, today we come to talk about brands, and the brand in particular, Bebe Cool, a Gagamelian, the CEO, an entrepreneur, a politician. You don't want to accept that? He is a politician, just like I am. Men, human beings, are all political animals. Atugoberera this podcast mazibanga nga ngoberera endongo bwetambula mu ggwanga lya Uganda, but I think Bebe Cool deserves a tick, kudos, respect when it comes to remaining relevant as a music brand, as a show business brand, as a social brand. Why? Toddamu nti Z. Bebe Cool, fena tukimanyi nti ayina generation gy'abelonginga to. Generation yeyo yeba Peter Miles, yeba Kid Fox, yeba Truman Kisumuluzo, yeba Bobby Wine the artist, yeba Jose Dr. Chameleon, later on aba Mr. Chisemakula. Actually, not later on, it's the same generation. Mr. Chisemakula, Kale Eagles production yonna ba Irene Nambiru, Juliana Kanyomozi. Question is, why is this guy remaining relevant? What are those special buttons the guy is pressing and others are ignoring? Other artists ignoring the buttons and the guy is pressing the buttons right. I've been following his steps and actions on how to taken while releasing new songs, the press conferences, the drives, the roadmaps towards releasing new songs, how the guy carries himself. Why am I coming out to give a special podcast to Bebe Cool? Ojja kulowooza nti generation gy'abelonginga to bonna bali mu Slumberland. They are in Slumberland. They are already complacent. They seem no longer willing or unable to catch up with the Generation Z. Tujja kujjukira nti Bebe Cool y'omu ku ba artists abasinza okukozesebwa nnyo mainstream or general politics. Nti Bebe Cool abadde awuttulwa ng'akubwa. Nze nange ali wano nga buli ssaawa Bebe Cool agamba mukuba ne bakleba ne bankyawa. Yagamba kale gwe wali wa Gagamero, kubanga nze nali wa Gagamero Lion Island Fire Base. And olw'ensonga biseera bya people power. But guy oyo nasobola okumaneuveringa through all the stumbling blocks, hiccups and the humps of the politics, and the guy is still catching up with the likes of John Black, Fik Famieika, the Crystal Pandas. The guy is matching up. The game is able to stretch his muscles even ahead of some Generation Z artists. And I'm like, this guy, Bebe Cool ayina engeri gy'akolamu ebintu bye. And saagala munfune mu ngeri ya once a Gagamelian is always a Gagamelian. Temuntama. Mundabe ng'omuntu ayina podcast, kye bayita Greenland Media Podcast, and is giving a genuine opinion. Guy, mujjukire ebiseera bya 2016. After 2016 tubonga nawe, many artists who participated in that jingle that he promoted a candidate, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, general of the UPDF and NRM, While other artists were struggling with public relations, the guy came with 2 songs, Chiche Chiganye and Tata. Later on, kankanya. Guy yoyo, ye yafulumya album, ya Gomama. Later on, guy yoyo yakola Love You Every Day. Tuzira nnyo okwogera ebigambo bya going international. Actually, this podcast in particular is in regards to how people ought to work if they want to go international. Let us look at the times when the Bebe calls were already established and we got new artists. Ziza Bafana, Caesarus, yes, Nat Nathan. Many rag artists came, and most of them are nowhere to be seen. Bebe Cool seems to be still relevant. In terms of music, I'm talking music. And recently, the guy is by metamorphosis seeming to be on top of many Generation Z artists. How? His approach. New approach. I was watching his recent release, Motivation. Before even I can tell you my opinion on Motivation, a few months, a while ago, should I say, he released Circumference. Before I can give my opinion about Circumference, let us talk about how the guy is playing around with the media. Remember, Bebe Cool with his generation, the kind of radio presenters, TV presenters, news writers, they used to work with a kind of getting out, fading away or out, getting laid off, getting laid back, and we have a new generation of journalists, radio presenters, TV presenters, news writers in the print. Social media is taking over. And the guy is still on. I want Bebe Antonio kugamba wadde media empyeze mbalina. Ayina engeri gyakola ebintu bino ebya towards a release of any single. The teasers, the roadmap to a new release. Abakola ebyo bebabeera international. Kati awo mwenzirirayo wali sendi we bankubira olwali ne ba Jenkins nti bankyaza. Tutwalagana ne Bebe Cool, and I was like, guy on, let us look at him in a different way. Nti bisere byo twali twakava mu kalulu ka 2016 nga buli muntu yenna akaaba nga ba artists bonna bali wansi wa mmeeza. Guy n'akomawo n'atuteekamu awo eggulire mbu yagera ku releasinga a video every month. Nga alina 2 hits. Abalala bonna nga balina ebizibu. Guy n'avaayo naye nga abantu bangi nnyo. And is the same spirit in which I'm coming to you guys to tell you that don't talk about going international. Just activate actions that can help you go international. Ebintu bimu Bebe Cool byakola kati. Ba Generation Z bandi babikola. Ba Generation Z bandi badenga bakola ba press conferences zaabwe. Nalaba abaana bali bagenzeeyo abasinga nga ba TikToker. Ekitegeeza, the guy is trying, just like Donald Trump is doing in the US as a president of the United States of America. The guy is trying, Bebe Cool himself, trying to tap into the new generation of media, communication, and broadcasting. The guy is like, let me tap into TikTok. And I used to see Sean Styles' exclusive pay attention to details. I saw there was that guy who has a channel, Gargamel TV, and many others. The Shira Prices, the chickens, seated, waiting for the guy. They were narrating how things went. Bebe Cool came, precise to the point, having a document or a plan, a communication plan, a presser, and after delivering the message regarding the information he wanted to give out to the press, the guy walked away. Simple as that. Ebyo bikolebwa abaagala ogenda international. Piara sikoze mungi nnyo. Cleberson. Si Piara. Press conference bwegwa guy nato oluyimba balita Circumference. If you wanna go international, not all the time you need to release songs that can be only ingested by your primary cardinal arch audience. Sometimes we go wrong on that. You wanna release a new song, but still you wanna satisfy the same audience. And in that particular time, you're saying you wanna go international, and international means inter-country, inter-continent, inter-EDC. The guy released the song. I expected to listen to a dancehall song, emulating or relating to Waya Waya, Chapu Chapu, released and produced and written by Ronnie. Not that Ronnie is not a good writer, not that Ronnie is not a good producer, but sometimes you got to go through metamorphosis. You got to stretch your muscles beyond elasticity in order to achieve some goals. And in this regard, we're talking about internationality. The guy released Circumference, and the intro of the Circumference song is just, should I say, a lousy, a laid back, but serious. When you listen to radio stations, for example, where I am in the DMV, that is Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, when you listen to the radio stations around that area, the music played, especially from Africa, those few artists that are able to play on radio stations in the area where I am, are the artists who have those unique, simple but serious pieces. And when you listen to Circumference, belongs to that category of the songs which are clean sounded, which have clean rhythm patterns, melodies, literature, vocals, and chronological flow. And I was like, I think it is a spot on. Remember, Circumference might not necessarily work in Uganda, but after some time, you will hear testimonies from the Gamerians or the Gargamel boss himself, Bebe, telling you that they have been able to generate revenues from Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, etc. And the Bebe, if he's serious enough with the team, and according to what I heard during the press conference, the first one, when he was releasing Circumference, when he talked about the team with which he worked to release and produce, might be among the top 2, 3, 4 international artists will have sometimes after now, or even now. Like I've told you, don't never claim to be international or working towards being international when your actions are otherwise. Circumference was out. The video was simple and precisely to the point. I was like, yeah, it's a good one. Remember, Bebe is no longer into the line of or lane of proving a point to Ugandans or Ugandan audience. No. And the strategy now I am seeing Bebe is taking on is inverting the approach. Remember, as an artist, as you're starting to release songs or coming through business of music, you're trying to satisfy. Who is talking? Siri, stop it. You're always concentrating on the local, primary, immediate audience, and the other audiences being the overflow. And now Bebe is going the other way around, is inverting his approach. The Ugandan audience being the secondary, and rest of the world being a primary target audience. That's why some people might not understand the kind of music Bebe Cool is releasing recently. We were there, another press conference, another discussion, another session, another anything I don't know if Ugandans know. The guy comes out. I was like, is it a press conference? Is it what? Hashtag motivation. After we had already ingested and digested Circumference. Motivation, there were discussions, and the Bebe Cool, will come with the cameras on him, looking good. Motivation was a song again, released off the same album. I was like, okay, I got to listen to the song and see what this time this guy has to offer. Listening to Motivation and watching the video, I was like, yes. Like I've told you, you don't need to release songs that will satisfy your your usual audience. Because your usual audience is already served and has dined on the already released songs, the wires, many songs. They already know you. They know you as Bebe Cool, as a Gagamedian Bossy, as Bawazuena. But there is an audience that many people are fighting for. And that is the international scene. The East African audience, the African audience, the West African, the Central EDC, and the rest of the world, that is Europe, Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Canada, United Kingdom, United States of America, in terms of exposure, reach, name it. So, normally I take time to listen to songs on iTunes, sometimes Spotify. Not many Ugandan artists are able to have good songs or have been able to produce good songs that you can listen to on those apps or online stores, and they are good. But to make matters worse also, among a few we have, Bebe Cool comes out outstanding. And I'm like, hey, Generation Z. That's why I was like, let me go make a podcast on this matter so that I'm able probably to get feedback from not the Gagamelians only, but rest of the Ugandans who consume or ingest music. And this time, let us not how, of course, it is difficult. It is impossible these days not to politicize anything. I think Bebe Cool deserves some flowers where due. And I come today, not as a former Gagamelian, Leon Islander, Firebaser, but as a genuine Musajja Mukuru, to say that thank you, Bebe Cool and the team, for at least being new all the time. Trying to be new. Of recent, he's always seen going to watch Arsenal in London with Zuena. That is also good public relations, keeping his body neat, the stature, the structure. Remember, he has a son, a footballer. That is all public relations and the strategies that are adding up to the brand. Bebe Cool, as far as remaining on point, remaining relevant is concerned. On Greenland Media Podcast, we do that. In our coming podcasts, we will be profiling Ugandan artists, East African artists, African artists, and later on, world over artists. Today, this podcast is specifically about how Bebe Cool is surprising me as a person who belongs to the Greenland Media Podcast. And we were like, let us talk about the two productions, the two projects by this guy who belongs to a different audience. And actually, if you're supposed to do deep or thorough analysis on the top generation and top artists within the generation that Bebe Cool belongs to, you might be like, the guy seems to be the only one musically international. Sorry about that. Internationally and recognizable musically. Awasibuno okuntegeera era awo. Kati ekyo kyonyonyola omuntu nti bannange. Good thing is that when you listen, our introduction is very intentional. Olaba bayimbi be bajjuddeko. So ojja kutegeera where my point is driven from and why I'm trying to drive my point home in that way. So ntegeera nti I'm here to give flowers to Bebe Cool in as far as business of music, business of creative and performing arts, business of art, business of showbiz, business of social service is concerned in terms of entertainment. Just go and watch, listen to 2 projects by Bebe Cool, the recent ones, Circumference and Motivation. You will watch. Ogambe nti, ekisajja kikyalimu. When you check, comparing his projects with the Generation Z artists' projects, recent ones, you'll be like, guy kikyabatwala guy. And if Confio Olomide can still be relevant, if Awilo Longomba is still releasing new music, why not I want Bebe Banton? Today, I appreciate whoever is taking time to watch this podcast and listen to this podcast. I remain Mosei Williams, omukadde w'ekkanisa, or precisely Williams, formerly known as Selector Williams, later on Selector Williams Live Uganda, and to Mosei Williams. And we'll be giving you more of this later on in our following podcasts. Thank you very much for being a part of this episode. I say goodbye.